Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for another Board of Trustees summary and update. This is for our Monday, November 28th meeting. Before we got started, we had a couple announcements. The first is that we're really excited about an interesting way that we're going to try and redesign our agenda and meeting process. One of the ways we're trying to become a little bit more efficient. Instead of having a conference agenda where we have only discussion items and a regular meeting where we have only action items, we're going to have both of those functions take place in the same meeting. So instead of having to wait a month to accomplish either of those, we'll be able to either have a discussion about an item or take action on an item in the same meeting. That's a little more typical of governance organizations, and I think that that's going to improve our efficiency a little bit as we go forward. Nothing else is going to change. We're still going to meet the second and fourth Monday of the month, but now we'll be able to have a discussion or take action in the same meeting. Leaf removal pickup is continuing until December 5th. Recycling is also resumed. It was suspended for the month of November so that Public Works could focus on cleaning the streets up after the storm, but all of those functions are back resumed normally, and you can find your leaf collection schedule at southorange.org/leaf collection. We're also reminding residents that to help improve lighting and visibility outside of their homes and on some of the streets, you can leave your porch lights on and exterior lights on. There's a campaign that the Citizens Public Safety Committee worked on a little while back called Light the Night. We're reminding people to do that. Although the village has to make more of an investment in some of the lighting infrastructure around town, a really easy fix to some of this is to leave your porch lights on. It really helps make a big difference. Obviously, we love the historic nature of the gas lights, but they don't output a lot of light, and we really need to make sure that our streets are well lit and people feel safe walking at night. So we're just reminding residents that they can help play a part in doing that. Speaking of lighting, I actually just came back from Seton Hall's tree lighting ceremony, and we're having our own tree lighting ceremony this Saturday at 5 p.m. in front of 76 South Orange Ave. You can take advantage of some different promotions and specials at some of our local businesses all day Saturday, culminating with the tree lighting at 5 o'clock, which is basically just across the street here from Village Hall. Also, we're really excited about a $9,475 grant that we got from Sustainable Jersey. This is the first grant we've gotten from them, hopefully the first of many, and that will likely allow us to purchase 3 electronic vehicle chargers downtown. Just one of many green initiatives that we're working on, and that should really help complement us in that regard. We had a couple presentations Monday night. The first was from the Community Relations Committee awarding the Villager of the Month award to Mr. Stephen Hollow. So thank you for all of the work that you've done for the community, especially helping to organize all the first night activities. And thank you to the Community Relations Committee for doing this award again this month. We also had a presentation from YouthNet and from Realty Appraisals. We talked a little bit about the reassessment. You'll be getting a card in the mail very shortly talking about the reassessment, and there will be a phone number on there. You can call them to schedule an appointment to talk more about your property value and if you have any questions about the reassessment. 519 properties appealed, and that's actually about 11% of all the households in South Orange, much more than average. So it seems to be that a reassessment, a village-wide reassessment, is the best way to go moving forward. We went on from that to approve our minutes from our last 4 meetings, and we had a second part of our community development block grant program where we talked about potential funding opportunities and grants in South Orange. We had a number of ordinances on first reading Monday night. The first was our salary ordinance, which is adjusting and bringing up to date the salary ranges for all of our non-contractual and supervisory personnel. That did pass on first reading. We also had an ordinance amending our pay-to-play ordinance, which is basically allowing the village, if engaged in a capital project, for example, instead of having, if there's more work that's required, a change order, for example, or we decide to expand a project, instead of having to go out to bid again midway through a project, this would give us the option of using the same company that already went through the public bidding process the first time to continue the work. This has the potential to really save the village a lot of time and money and help streamline some of the projects that we're working on. That passed on first reading. We also had a bicycle rack ordinance. We referred that to the planning board for more discussion. And we had a $12 million bond, and that is to a refunding bond ordinance for all of the property tax appeals. And that was passed on first reading as well. We had an ordinance that was amending our landscaping code, and that's basically just bringing that up to state statute and up to date there, and that passed on first ordinance. The next 2 ordinances were much more discussion heavy. That was about the Historic Preservation Commission and the Special Improvement District. Neither of those were really ready for first reading, and instead we really had a little bit of discussion and figured out the best way to continue the discussion going forward. As far as the Historic Preservation Commission, we referred that to the Planning and Zoning Committee for a little more discussion before it comes back before the Board of Trustees. For the Special Improvement District, we thought it would be best to hold a workshop, which we're doing this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Here in Village Hall, and it'll be a workshop for the board to work through some of the more technical details like the budget of what a Special Improvement District would look like. And that will help the board be in a better position about whether this is an ordinance they want to move on first reading or not. We had some discussion about grant opportunities. One is the Tri-State Transportation Planning Grant. The other is a Recreational Trails Grant. Obviously, these are both great opportunities. We're going to work for both. We're going to work towards both of those. Any money that we can bring into town to help us with any of these open space projects is definitely something we need to do. We had a public comment period, and as you probably know by now, I don't like trying to summarize people's public comments. The best way to see what people spoke about, the main two topics were the Historic Preservation Commission and Special Improvement District. The best way to get a feeling for those comments is to either read the minutes where there's a summary of the public comments, or to go watch the video of the meeting and actually watch the comments. The videos are available the next day online at southorange.org. You can always look at those, obviously, for the full record of the meeting. We had 8 resolutions on the consent agenda, one of which was removed and voted on separately. The 8 resolutions, the resolutions that remained on the consent agenda did pass, including our executive session agenda, which I will scroll down the screen as per usual, so you can pause and see any more detail if you like. The resolution that was removed for separate action was awarding a contract for e-ticketing, which is a project that Trustee Levison in particular has been working a really long time at. That's going to really help us improve the operational efficiency of our police department and reduce some of the data entry associated with writing tickets. And that was approved as a separate action. We went on to approve our bills, and then we opened it up for new discussion. We talked a little bit about the gas lamps and how there's really a very high number of gas lamps that are out around town, perhaps 30 to 40%. We actually did kind of a full study of all the gas lamps and found that there were many out. So we're following up with that to make sure that there's some accountability there. Again, hopefully this has been helpful. It's a summary of our meeting. There's many ways that you can find out about the meeting. There are updates written in the patch, obviously in the news record and other news sources like the Alternative Press. And you can watch these video updates. I also write a once monthly column in the news record. And you can obviously find the official record of our meeting with the minutes, which are available a couple weeks after the meeting, or you can just watch the video of the meeting as well, especially if there's anything in particular that you want to see. Hopefully between all that we have a way for anyone to find out about what's going on, and please feel free to stop by my office hours on Tuesday afternoons or drop me an email, torpey@southorange.org, if you have any questions or want to know more about anything that I mentioned tonight. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.